Offense definitely won the day. And you know who was on fire? Spencer Rattler.
Saints quarterback Spencer Rattler has been on fire apparently over the past few practices, picking up some momentum after that game-winning drive that he led versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, throwing a touchdown and of course running it in for the 2-point conversion. He's been picking up some steam as his quarterback battle is coming down to the last and final game and coming down to the wire versus the Denver Broncos, and a decision will have to be made soon. And there's a lot of momentum on Spencer Rattler's side right now as he's picking up a lot of steam. And it was announced by Saints head coach Kellen Moore that Spencer Rattler will be starting in Saturday's preseason game along with most of the other starters on the team, which could be a pretty big sign for the second-year quarterback. And we're here to break that all down in today's video. I'm Cash, and you should take 5 seconds to like the video and subscribe. Help support the channel. We're trying to reach 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Maybe by week 1. We're at 13.7 right now. Appreciate the support. Let's keep this thing going. And with all that being said, let's dive into Spencer Rattler, looking to be on fire right now. Let's start off by talking about Tuesday's practice for the Saints. So Tuesday's practice for the Saints was not open to the media or the public, but Bobby Herbert was actually allowed in there, was able to watch the practice. Other media members were only there for like warm-ups and individual drills. So Bobby Herbert had some extra spicy intel and detail as to what went on in this practice, and he had a lot of really good things to say, like the offense kicked ass with Spencer Rattler at QB. Spencer Rattler was making big plays, and he looked to be on fire. I'll put the link to the YouTube video in the description because there's a lot more detail about it, but this is a good 35-second just snippet of what he had to say, what Spencer Rattler was doing.
I'll tell you, the offense kicked ass. This was like I wrote in my notes, offense definitely won the day. And you know who was on fire? Spencer Rattler. I don't know, he ran with the ones today, and
Rattler running with the first team offense. Remember that. Rattler running with the first team offense and the first team and the starters on Tuesday. Remember that because that's going to be important when we talk about it in just a moment.
And for every one play Shuck made, Spencer Rattler made 3. And
Rattler's probably pissed off. Tyler Shuck getting every opportunity to win this job, got to play with Olave and Shaheed, and Rattler didn't get to do that. He's just throwing to the same guys he threw to last season, so he's playing with the chip on his shoulder. Love the energy, love the way he's playing right now, and he's showing up Shuck right now. For every one play Shuck made, he made 3. That's a big statement.
He was burning the defense. Spencer Rattler looked like with a lot of confidence in practice, almost like building upon what he did on the last drive to tie the game.
Nice.
That's good momentum, building upon that final drive, 82 yards in a 2-minute drill to tie up the game when the team had scored 0 touchdowns to that point. That's great momentum for Spencer Rattler. Was on fire in this practice, showing up Shuck. This is excellent momentum for him to be the starting quarterback. Spencer Rattler was then asked about the quarterback battle and how close it is because, man, this thing is almost as identically close as it could be in terms of the numbers and the stats. And Spencer Rattler was asked about what he thinks about the QB battle, and he had a really good response, just saying that it's not up to him. He's just going to control what he can control and do whatever he can to win the job.
That's not up to me. I mean, that's whoever's decision. Whoever makes that decision, they'll make it. I'm just controlling what I can.
Control what he can. He can control whether or not he plays good. If he's on fire, can build on this momentum he's got right now, and that's exactly what he's doing. So now let's talk about Wednesday's practice for the Saints, and this is the last open practice to the media. This one was in the Superdome, and there is a lot of important stuff in here, and I think there might be a little bit of a hint as to who the Saints are going to be relying on to be their starting quarterback going into week 1. Spencer Rattler started off the day on Wednesday with the Saints starting offense, starting off with the first team offense. Now, this is interesting to me because if he took the first team reps on Tuesday, or they at least rotated, but he started off taking first team reps, started the practice off, then started off Wednesday's practice off with the starters, and then they rotated. Does that signify anything? In the past few weeks, it'd be Rattler starts off with the ones, and then Shuck starts off with the ones the next day, and then they rotate. 2 days in a row, Spencer Rattler was the starting QB with the first team offense. 2 days in a row. That's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's any intel. I don't know if that's a giveaway or a hint as to what they're going to be doing. I don't think the coaches internally know who there's going to be the starting quarterback. They might have an idea of who they want at this point, but I don't think it's like a set decision. But Rattler getting 2 days in a row, starting off with the first team offense, I think is, in my opinion, a pretty big tell, or at least a hint as to where they could be leaning. Wednesday's practice was a big day for Spencer Rattler. He had a really good practice, getting most of the reps with the starting offense. Spencer Rattler during team drills, 11 on 11 drills, was 17 of 20, had one touchdown on a perfectly placed ball to Chris Olave on a 30-yard touchdown catch. That's impressive. He had 11 straight completions, and then the 12th one was a drop from Alvin Kamara. During the red zone drills, though, during 7-on-7s, he was 0 of 4. That's a little bit concerning. It kind of feels like Rattler tends to struggle in the red zone a little bit. I don't know if that's because there's less space for him to operate with. I don't know if the field is too condensed for him to make certain throws. But the red zone thing has been a consistent issue, I think, just for the team in general, but Rattler as well, going back to last season. So maybe trading for Devon Bailey is going to help out the Saints wide receiver room, help out these quarterbacks and able to score in the red zone. But that was during 7-on-7s. As for team drills in 11-on-11, Rattler killed it right here. Just some extra detail as to the practices. Rattler closed out the final period with the first team offense against the second team defense, led them to a field goal, and then had another drive with a touchdown to Olave, like we said earlier. It was a one-handed snag by Chris Olave with Rico Payton in coverage. And then Shuck closed out the final period with the second team offense versus the first team defense. Again, Shuck finishing with the 2s. He did get some reps with the starting offense, did get some reps with the 1s. Shuck was 6 of 12 on the day. He had a really nice pass to Dante Pettis rolling out left, throwing across the middle like a weird sidearm arm angle. But Rattler starting off the day with the 1s and ending with the 1s, I think, is a big tell, especially after Tuesday. He started off with the 1s and got reps with the first team offense. I think they might have an idea of who they're leaning towards, but it's not a definite answer quite yet. And as for the attendance and just some injury updates for the team, Ross Jackson put out this article saying every player on the 91-man roster was seen at some point during the practice. Devin Neal was back and participating during 7-on-7, so he looked, as he's trying to recover back from this injury, trying to play Saturday to make a case to make the team. Safety Terrell Burgess was back, but in a limited capacity, didn't really practice a whole lot. Zach Wood, I guess, was hurt. Alante, Ridgeway did not practice, although they were seen walking around and doing laps. Morrell and Taysom were seen observing, but obviously didn't practice. And left guard, Trevor Penning was seen observing with a boot on his right foot as he's recovering from that turf toe injury. And wide receiver Bub Means posted to his Instagram he has a boot on his ankle as well as he's recovering from a season-ending injury. So Spencer Rattler had a big practice on Wednesday, getting reps with the first team offense, going 17 of 20. And on Tuesday, he looked to be on fire in a closed-off practice, making big plays. For every one play Shuck made, he made 3. That's what we want to hear in this quarterback battle. And Kellen Moore did give some updates as to the quarterback battle and when a decision or where things stand moving forward into this week. I mean, no surprise here, but Kellen Moore said the quarterbacks, Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, will both play in the final preseason game versus the Denver Broncos. No surprise there, they both got to play. Curious to see who starts the game, though, and if whoever is starting, do they get Eric McCoy, Alvin Kamara, and the whole starting offense and the whole starting defense? I'm intrigued to see what happens there. And we got an update on that. As I was editing this, it was announced from Kellen Moore that Spencer Rattler is going to be starting against the Broncos on Saturday, and that most of the starters will play versus the Broncos on Saturday. I think that's a pretty big tell of where they're leaning. He said the decision to play Rattler doesn't indicate what will happen week 1, but I think it definitely has an effect, and I think this thing is definitely leaning towards Spencer Rattler's direction. He has to do something with this opportunity. Talise Fuag is dealing with a knee injury, so he might not be having his right tackle out there, but this will be his chance to play with Eric McCoy, Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, and Chris Olave, and he's got to make the most of this opportunity. He's getting the start versus the Broncos. Kellen Moore also mentioned that they will just announce the starter once they made that decision. They won't try to hide it until the last minute, until Friday or Saturday. It's like if they make a decision on Sunday, they'll announce that decision, or if they make the announcement on Tuesday, they'll announce it on Tuesday. They're not going to try and hide it. They're going to let the QB have their moment, appreciate the job that they won, and then go on from there. But my biggest takeaway and the biggest thing I think Kellen Moore said that is most important was that Kellen Moore said whoever wins the starting QB job will be someone they rally behind, whether it's Shuck or Rattler. They won't have to constantly be worried about losing their starting job if they make a mistake. That's important information. We saw Kellen Moore mention this to Kay Adams before, that they're going to rally behind whoever their starting quarterback is. They don't want to have this QB carousel and just have nonstop back and forth. So if Tyler Shuck wins the starting job, they're going to give him every opportunity to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and rally behind them and allow them to go through the motions. Same if it's Spencer Rattler, and I think that's the right way to approach it. Now, if you're in week 8 and you're 0-8, or week 9 and you're 0-9, then you might have to consider making a change at QB. But I like the mentality that they're going to rally behind whoever they name the starting QB, and they won't have to worry about losing the starting job if they make a mistake or throw an interception. Whoever the quarterback is, the coaching staff has their backs, and I think that's good for the players, and in terms of this first-time head coach, good for the trust in their relationship. If I'm guessing, I think Spencer Rattler should be the week 1 starter. I think he will be the week 1 starter. Maybe this game changes that with new information and new numbers and a whole extra game and a whole other practice. But my gut feeling tells me Spencer Rattler will be starting week 1, and the coaching staff might be leaning that way. I have no intel. I'm just kind of guessing off my gut here. I believe that Spencer Rattler will be starting week 1, and based on the practices and Rattler getting first-team reps starting off the day and ending the day, some of these practices with the starters, I think it's a little bit of a tell that Rattler is the guy they're leaning towards, at least right now. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know your opinion on the QB battle down in the comments below. Who do you want to win? Who do you think's going to win? And your thoughts on Spencer Rattler heating up and being on fire, building some momentum after Sunday's game, tying drive versus the Jaguars. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Help support the channel. I'm Kaj, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.